submission is free for all.
Uganda's Transformative Vision 2040 and other development programs have encountered significant challenges as implementation, for instance, of the third National Development Plan is hindered by the escalating public debt and high public expenditure. The accountants body, Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, Uganda Debt Network and the legislature have expressed interest in the country's reliance on debt, urging instant intervention by government.
The issue of government expenditure in relation to Uganda's budget financing challenges, and we made proposals in line with the urgency of reduced public expenditure. We also made proposals with regard to the need for government to increase domestic revenue collection through widening the tax base, while rethinking the criteria for the award of tax exemptions. Honorable, we are happy to note that the domestic revenue mobilization is being enhanced with an increase in the annual domestic revenue target 29 trillion shillings, and efforts are underway to increase collection through the taxpayer registration expansion project, which is being implemented through strategic collaborations with the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Kampala City Council Authority, and the Traders Association, among other organizations.
Pressure to address physical discipline and unsustainable borrowing needs to be handled.
Limiting expenditure, and you have mentioned that in case any MDA is errant on the issue of, say, for example, supplementary funding request, that you would sanction anyone who would exceed the 3% provision by Public Finance Management Act. We would like to see this in action because it has always been happening. We have always had instances when they are borrowing even much more, the supplementaries come too early. So we would like that to be handled.
From the legislative perspective, government has placed significant emphasis on broad economic growth to as well as widen the tax base. Identification and priority to 4 strategic sectors, including commercial agriculture, industrialization, services and ICT, is expected to foster economic stability in line with Uganda's long-term growth objectives. But all this is still at stake in the face of debt-to-tax deficit.
Sector number 1, commercial agriculture, arising from the fact that the backbone of this country is anchored on agriculture. Sector number 2, industrialization. Industrialization to provide job opportunities to our young people. Sector number 3, services, or the service in industry. Section number 4 is information and communication technology. These are the 4 strategic sectors that His Excellency the President has identified that the NRM government must put more resources in order to bring about socio-economic transformation and development of Uganda.
We remain alert to Uganda's budget financing challenges, with less than 50% of Uganda's budget financed through domestic revenue. The country relies heavily on debt financing and its related costs. Therefore, we need to increase the domestic revenue mobilization accompanied by rationalization of public spending if we are to achieve our development goals. Honorable, we appreciate the efforts that government is taking towards controlling public expenditure.
As the financial year 2023-2024 begins, the economy is projected to grow at a rate of 5.5%, with even high expectations for the next decade, aiming for a growth rate of 6.5 to 7% by 2030. In this regard, cautious public expenditure, improved tax administration to foster revenue collection, and a review of tax exemptions are all called for. Still, addressing public finance mismanagement and ghost expenses remain key issues.
Today in the morning, I saw a clip where journalists are unveiling still ghost charity centers tomorrow. And we have been listening to ghost employees, which means the audit process is not being utilized, and that's our domain. So in tackling inefficiencies in public management, I think we need to bring everybody on board, including the accountants. We can't say accountants, they are the major, but we need to bring everybody on board. And probably what is also missing is that willingness, because I do not believe that ghost health centers they are talking about can be in a district and the leadership is not aware.
I am finally glad that the proposals generated or going to be generated from this forum will be submitted to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for further action and further presentation, probably to Cabinet and to Parliament, and thereby informing our projections and our trajectory in nation building.
Efforts to broaden the tax base and promote tax compliance are major factors to support Uganda's economic progress, as it should be with cautious public expenditure. Naomi Mutumba, Smart24 TV, Business Today.